Malditos mutantes, bienvenidos sean. Muy buenos días, tardes y noches. Hoy tengo la grandiosa oportunidad de entrevistar y conversar con uno de los íconos del heavy metal y el rock, Michael Sweet. It's a great honor to fulfill a personal dream, interview one of the icon of heavy metal and rock scene, Michael Sweet from Stryper. Since I heard the way at age 12, his music has been a source of inspiration. Welcome, Michael, to Metal Mutantes Peru.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words. It's nice to talk to you. You've been listening since you were 12, you say, right?
Yes, I have 33.
So only for about maybe 4 years or so. You look like you're 16 years old.
Yes, maybe.
Yes, you look young. You look very young.
Really?
Yeah, you do.
No, but you look so good. You have 61 years. You don't, you know.
I know. I can't believe I'm going to be 62 in July. And, it's just a number. And I always remind myself of that. As long as you're alive and you're healthy, and you're able to walk and do things, get out and do your best. And I always look at it as the best is yet to come. I think that Stryper and Michael Sweet have not presented or released the best yet. We're gonna do that eventually.
Yes. Well, you are celebrating 40 years since your debut album, Soldier Under Command, 1985, I think.
Yes.
With a Latin American tour in 2025. You mentioned in the past interviews that you can now create an album or several songs in just 2 weeks. The question is this due to experience for you?
What it is it's a song a day. I don't take on, I could probably do 2 or 3 songs a day, but the thing is I would feel like that would be rushing. It's usually to finish a song and get it to about the 90% mark. It's about maybe 2 to 3 hours for me. And I don't know why my brain works very quickly when it comes to music. And I work well under pressure. So in other words, if I'm under more pressure, I'm going to work better. And that's just the way I'm built, and that's the way my mind works. But, some people say I'm rushing the process. I don't agree, because that's the way it's always been for me. Back in the day, some of the biggest songs from 85, 86, 87, 88 were written in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So I don't really know what those people mean by such a statement. So it's just the way my mind works, and the way I write music. The one thing that I do spend a little more time tweaking and working on are the lyrics. I'll write the bulk of the lyrics, and then I'll spend a few days working on those and fine tuning the lyrics. But I mean, for the most part, it's 1 song a day. And I don't like to start writing in advance. In other words, I don't start writing an album a year before we start recording. I start 2 to 3 weeks before we start recording.
Yes. You talk about the lyrics and the composition. For me, when we were kings, your last album is my question is, what was the creative process behind your last album? Especially considering it's a tribute to Stryper Golden Era. I think is that the name When We Were Kings is a tribute with a Golden Era Stryper,
Yes. Absolutely. Including the acoustic album that was released last year. It's actually number 16. So we've released 16 albums so far, studio albums. And then we're working on a Christmas album. That'll be number 17. And then a new album next year. That'll be 18. But anyway, When We Were Kings it was purposely as I was writing that album, I was really trying to purposely go back to the past. and remind people of some of the great flavors and qualities of the band back in 1985, 86, 87. And what I mean by that is the chorus has always had some sort of an anthemic kind of sound to them where you could sing along, and it went somewhere else. And that's what I tried to do on this album. And I think we accomplished that. I'm really pleased with how everything turned out. I love the album. It's one of my favorite Stryper albums, and I'm so happy. And I hope that we can continue outdoing ourselves. The goal is to make our best album, and hopefully the next album will be even better.
Yes, it's a great job because you have great songs like We Are Kings, End of the Day. This is the first song, Unforgivable. A couple of weeks, Stryper, that was like a single. So this is a great job. Congratulations for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, buddy. I'm glad you like it, and I hope many other people like it as well.
It's because, yes, for me it's more aggressive, more epic, I think, with the last compared your, for example, Surrender Command, To Hell with the Devil, it's more melodic,
Yes.
But
yes.
The mark in the Stryper is your voice, I think, and the drums, because the drums of Robert Street and Out Fox too in the riff is amazing, dude. So I know you're working on a Christmas album for this 2025. How did the idea come about, and what the concept behind it?
Well, I mean, we've talked about a Christmas album since 1985 when we released the Christmas single, Reason for the Season, and on the flip side of that was Winter Wonderland. So we always talked about it, and it seemed to be in high demand. People they've talked about and asked for a Stryper Christmas album for years. So we finally had the opportunity to do it. So we jumped on that and we said, let's do it. We booked the time and we just made it happen. I'm singing that album now. I've got a few more songs to sing, and then we go to Sweden. When I get back, we're going to mix it and it'll come out this year. It's really cool. It's a cool album. It's got 5 original songs. One of those is Reason for the Season. And then 4 brand new songs. And then it's got 5 traditional songs. One of those is Winter Wonderland and 4 other traditionals. It's going to be a great album. I think people will like it. And I also believe that it's an album they'll listen to every single year from here on out.
Yes, that's true. I remember or your Patreon, okay, exclusive Patreon.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and I think 2 weeks you... the new song called the Tithe, I think, the Tithe. Is correct the pronunciation, the Tithe?
You're thinking of the Thief. Are you thinking of the Thief?
Yes.
The Thief. Yes, that came out already. That's available on Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great.
Thank you.
The question is, what can you share about your plans to record in your 17th, I think, new album? Because I know you go to the studio in early 2026.
We do. We go in. Yeah, and we're going to start working on a new album that'll come out next year. I would say, if I had to guess, probably September or October of next year.
Yeah.
And I don't know the title yet. There are no songs written for it.
But the song "The Thief" is part in this for this new album.
No, "The Thief" is just all its own, a song that we recorded and released on Patreon. It will not be on the new album. No. What we plan to do are the songs that we release on Patreon. I think so far we've released 3, and we have a 4th coming, I believe. I could be wrong. It might even be 4 by now. We're going to keep releasing songs, and then we'll release an album called the Patreon Sessions, most likely, and it will contain all the songs from Patreon that the rest of the world has not heard.
Well, I know I'm Christian right now, but in the past I have a Christian life, okay? So for me, this question is really important because I know friends they convert to the Christian.
Yep.
For example, you're a Christian, but
Yes.
you cover songs from not Christian bands
Yep.
like a Black Sabbath. After
Yes.
Forever is the song on the album Fallen. How do you manage this musical duality within the metal world?
Because to me, Christianity is not based on a song or a food or a drink, or that's not what makes you a Christian. And I think so many people get caught up in that. In other words, people think that if you become a Christian, you can never enjoy a beer ever again. Nonsense. I don't agree with that. I think if you want to enjoy a beer, you want to enjoy a cigar, you want to enjoy putting on a Judas Priest album or a Black Sabbath album, that's between you and God. If you have the freedom to do that and that doesn't pull you down or take you down a dark road or path, I think you should do it. Stryper grew up listening to these bands. These bands were all a big influence on us. Judas Priest, Dio, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Van Halen. And, we weren't influenced by Christian bands. We were influenced by mainstream bands. And the songs that we choose when we cover them, we're always very cautious about the lyrical content. After Forever is a Christian song. If you read the lyrics, it is a Christian song. And those lyrics were actually written by Geezer, the bass player, who was a practicing and may still very well be a practicing Catholic. So those songs are written from a Christian point of view, and we had no problem covering that song whatsoever.
Yes, thank you. I told that because in your history with the Michael Scott, no Michael Scott is wrong.
Michael W. Smith?
Yeah, like a Stryper. For example, in the album Against the Law, you changed everything.
Yes.
The logo, everything.
Yep.
In that moment, Stryper passed a difficult situation, I think. But the curious is that the song Lady, I love that song. I dedicate my wife. So
that's awesome. I love it.
Yes. Against the Law, I think that Against the Law was a point broken to the Stryper. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We got to a place where we were hurting and we were broken, and we had taken so much abuse, basically, more so verbally, taken a lot of abuse from the Christian church, from people throughout the years, starting in 1984 when we first came out to 1990. And all that tension and frustration built up inside of us. And I think you see that and you hear that on Against the Law. That's why we changed everything. We didn't really want anything to do with the church. And that's the whole point of that song, Against the Law. We're against you. We're against your laws, and always pointing the fingers, always judging people. And, we saw so much of that. So it caused us to rebel as men. We started drinking a lot more and partying a lot more. And that came out in our spirit and in our vibes. And unfortunately, if I could go back in time and redo something, that's something I would redo. I would go back and change that, how I handled that situation. It's part of the reason why I left the band, because I wanted to save my marriage, and my marriage meant more to me, and still absolutely means more to me than music or any band for that matter. So I left without hesitation, and I'm so glad that I did. But like I said,
because you feel recorded with Michael Sweet album, you feel recorded, it was a great sales,
Yeah,
a great job too, like a soloist.
Oh, thank you. I hope you liked that album, the first solo album. It was very different.
Yes.
From Stryper. But, I enjoyed making that album, and a lot of people really liked it and very successful. But, I'm very happy. I look back on the past and the history of the band and Michael Sweet, and I'm very happy with where I am right now. Where I've come from and where I've gone to. And I'm very, very pleased. God's really blessed me, really touched my life, and I could not ask for anything more.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to pass this question, but it's really funny that the photo. Like I talk, some of my friends stop listening to bands like King Diamond, for example, when they become Christians. But yet you even post for a photo with the King. I have the photo. It's here.
Still loading, but I know exactly what photo you're referring to. Absolutely. Yeah, King Diamond. I had the opportunity. We were performing. And his dressing room was set up right next to ours. And I went outside the dressing room, and there he was. And I walked up to him and introduced myself. And he knew who I was. I knew who he was. And we talked, about just normal things for a brief period of time. And he was a very pleasant guy, very, very nice, very pleasant, very sweet. And, it was interesting because I released that photo, and some people thought it was cool, and some people gave me a lot of flack for it. And I just don't understand people sometimes. It's like God loves Kim. God loves King Diamond, as much as he loves you or me.
Yes. But do you listen to his music?
I'm familiar with his music, of course. We've played with him a few times, and I've heard his music many times. And I know what he stands for is the polar opposite of what we stand for. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be rude, and I will not be cordial. And it was very nice to meet him, actually, and I enjoyed our conversation. I'd love to meet him again and maybe have dinner with him. Yes, exactly. Well, that's it.
Well, continue. Thank you for your answer. Continue with the interview. I consider, and many consider, you are the real savior of Stryper, because your request of Fox returned in 1981, for example. You convinced the band to bring Teen Games in 1986, and if for you revived Stryper in 2003, but it's like a leader, because the leader always Robert Sweet, but you revived Stryper in 2003. What was it like talking on that role?
Well, that's an interesting subject, and I'm glad you brought that up. I never look at it that way. I don't do what I do to get accolades or applause. But it is interesting when you look at it that way. It is true. My brother did not want to work with Oz again for a number of reasons. Oz was a bit of a loose cannon. At least that's how my brother viewed him. And I viewed him that way a little bit, but my brother did a lot. And my brother was adamant about working with him. He said, I don't want to work with him anymore. And we parted ways, and I basically kept coming to my brother and asking him to give Oz another chance. I don't even know if Oz knows the details of this story, but it's a true story. That's all I can say. And I fought for Oz to be back in the band. And after a long period of time, I finally convinced Robert to do that. And we did. And we brought Oz back in. Same goes for Tim. We parted ways with Tim for a number of reasons, and I was the guy kind of fighting and championing to have him brought back to the band. And I did that multiple times, actually. Somehow, I always get viewed as the bad guy in the band. I'm the reason why we broke up. I'm the reason why the other guys can't do this, or the other guys can't do that, or I'm this, or I'm that, or I'm a dictator, or blah, 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 blah. And, people can talk all they want, but it doesn't make it true. The truth is that I am the guy that fights for the band more than anyone else in the band. And I fight to continue making music. I fight to continue touring. I fight to continue staying together as a band. It doesn't matter. I don't need those, I don't need people to pat me on the shoulder and say, hey, good job. But yeah, it's interesting that you brought that up. That's very interesting. And you are absolutely correct. 100%.
Yeah, thank you. I have a curious always when I meet a Stryper. I always been curious. Why does Robert, your brother, play the drums in the sad ways during live shows?
Well, I mean, everyone will probably have a different story and opinion on that. Robert, definitely, and that's fine. My opinion is that Robert really should have been a front man. He should have been out front. Robert likes to put on a show. Robert likes to be seen in the best of ways. I mean that with all due respect. One of his idols is someone he really looked up to was David Lee Roth. And Robert loves the flashy side of rock and roll and to dress up and move and be seen. And, so I think I've joked about putting Robert out front and me standing behind him. And he actually said, oh, wow, that's a great idea. So
yeah, if because for him, the yellow and the black and the title of Stryper, so yes.
Yeah.
But I'm curious for that.
When he sits sideways, he can be seen more.
Yes.
You can see what he's doing, and that is why he gave himself the name the Visual Timekeeper.
Yes. Well, I want to talk about the diction of Perry Richardson as bassist has been well received. I hear you say you're very happy with them. What has been brought to the band, Perry?
Well, Perry's obviously a great person, but as well, I think that what gets overlooked and overshadowed sometimes because he's got big shoes to fill. Tim was a great bass player, but Perry is an outstanding bass player, very solid. It brings a different flavor to the band. Perry's more of an in the pocket, lock with the drums kind of player. Tim was a little bit more, it played more notes and with his fingers, a little more jazzy. Perry's a little more solid and rock.
More flow, more savor.
Yes.
Flavor,
and Perry
flavor.
is a fantastic singer. I don't know if people know that or not or realize that, but he's a great singer and he brings a lot to the table in that regard as well. And he has the look and he's a great guy. And, we love having him in the band and we're very pleased to have him in our band.
Yes. I read, for example, in the Patreon, to bring up what news can you share about the stage design on this tour, Latin American Tour 2025. I read on the Patreon that there will be a two blocks, one block with the 80 outfits and another with a current style. Is that true?
I don't think we're doing that. That was the set that we did for the 40-year anniversary last year. So I don't think we're doing the same set. We're not going to be performing one set, taking a break, and performing another set. It won't be like that. It'll be one set, probably 90, 95 minutes long, maybe 100 minutes long. And we'll come out and just rock in high energy and try to, engage the crowd and play every song that they want to hear.
Yes. Well, and finally, Michael, please, could you send a greeting to all the Peruvian metalheads eagerly awaiting your return to Peru after 15 years. The show is this Sunday, July 20 on Teatro Leguía. Please send your message. The show
Yeah,
is.
we're very excited to come back. We cannot wait. We love the passion of the Peruvian people, and we see it, we feel it when we perform there, and we miss that, and we can't wait to come back. We hope you all come back to see Stryper, and let's celebrate together with an incredible show. And we're going to do our best, like I said, to play all the songs that you guys want to hear. And we can't thank you enough for your support and your love throughout the years. May God bless all of you.
Thank you, Michael. Well, we're done with the interview, and thank you so much for your time, for to open the question and talk with the truth. Really, thank you so much to come
Thank you, friend.
through. But finally, because I have minutes, how do you feel to a singer, one of your favorite band, like a Boston?
Oh gosh. I mean, that was a real spontaneous, like out of nowhere moment. I had no idea that I was going to be asked to join the band. And it was mind blowing, humbling, and incredible. Because they're one of my favorite bands. That's the first album I ever purchased on my own. And fast forward to 2008, and I'm touring with them. And it was definitely quite a special moment in my life and memorable, and I'll always hold that near and dear to my heart.
Well, I need to talk this. I want to thank you very so much for your song, because they helped me in a very important in my life. Sometimes I have depression, so your songs give me strong, and thank you for that.
Oh, yes, of course. That is amazing to hear, my friend. God bless you. That's incredible.
Well, well done, and say hi, your Robert Sweet and us Fox and Perry too.
I will, and we will see you soon in July, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Rodrigo. God bless you, my friend.
Gracias.
See you later.
See you.